There you
Wow. Holy crap.
go. Can you see me now?
Yes, very clear.
Yes, all good. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Blessings. Blessings. Great to see you again.
So how's your morning or and early evening or afternoon now?
Yeah, yeah, it's just in the afternoon. I think we might be in the same time zone.
I'm in,
Milwaukee?
yeah, I'm still in Wisconsin and it's 12.
Yeah. 12:10 over here. I'm in Texas. So yeah,
Oh,
we're in the same
yeah.
time zone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the day's been nice. We had a nice walk in the rising, and then we had a nice qigong energizing. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I did a little bit of movement before this live, so
good.
always helps.
Yeah. Do you usually do movement in the morning?
I I do more like little bits throughout all the day, but yeah, definitely in the morning.
Hmm. And when you say movement, Tatiana, what kind of movement do you enjoy doing in the rising? Like anything typical or any like methods, modalities, movements?
Uh, all the rotations, like, wrist, head, arms,
Mhm.
legs, ankles, spine, even.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, all the rotations really just all throughout the day.
Hmm. I used to see people do like a lot of spine work with Kundalini Yoga. You ever heard of Kundalini Yoga?
Yeah, I have.
Where like people be like, they
Hmm.
really be working
It
it.
feels good. It feels good. You can feel it. It definitely moves up and down and around. So,
Hmm. Hmm. And especially, if because I have a lot of I've had a lot of problems with posture, like being hunched over or being, feeling like your chest wasn't back or your spine wasn't aligned. And so, I feel like it definitely helps realign the spine, you
yeah.
know? Yeah, yeah. It's a different energy for sure. Where did you um where did you learn that? Did you know it intuitively, like things that you just naturally or intuitively do, or did someone teach you?
I did a yoga teacher training a few years ago, maybe 3 years
Mm,
ago. So that's where I really started learning like more subtle
yeah,
movements. Yeah.
yeah. 3 years ago, you said?
About probably
Yeah. A whole training. So what even inspired you to do like a certified training of that magnitude?
mm, flexibility. I definitely wanted to become more flexible. I know a lot of people are like, you're not supposed to go into yoga trying to like get all these flexible gains, but that is what it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my truth. I wanted to be more flexible.
Mm,
And when you start like pushing your body to be more flexible, I mean, you can feel, little, mm, it's spiritual. You can feel in your kind of in your joints, like lots of releases in your joints and in
mhm.
your hips. And obviously that's connected to your emotions. So
Right.
yeah.
So not just physical release, but emotional release, you know? Letting certain things go, because it sounds like when you started it wasn't purely like there weren't really spiritual reasons. It was physical and flexibility, but you're saying in a roundabout way it came back to the spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that connect? Like how did you feel like that it enlivened your spirituality, so to speak?
I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but I'm noticing a pattern in my life
Hmm.
of like um what works for me is like kind of just like doing something with no reason and then finding the reason later. We kind of talked about this in our first live too with my tattoos, actually, if you remember. I kind of just got them and then they all had meaning like
Hmm.
later. So I'm noticing that's kind of just like how my little individual self works in my life.
So things happen, you're very spontaneous, right? You'll do something for no reason, but then the reason arrives.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So when you said emotional release, releasing the tension, and then kind of having that flexibility, what did you find that was a change in maybe the mental, a change in the emotion, a change in different levels for you that you didn't have before your training?
A lot of symbolism and like numerology and astrology all kind of really overlap when you do things authentically, and you just can kind of just read everything like a book, like yeah, like I don't know, as long as you're authentic, it's just like everything just aligns, and you just these little epiphanies just come throughout the day, through numbers or people talking to you, and then it hits and it all connects, and it's seem like looking at it, if you zoom out, it if you zoom in and you're just in it, it can seem super random. But if you zoom out, it's so totally a pattern. And I think that, as you keep going, you just learn your pattern more, and you just learn to work around it, with it. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, because do you feel like there was ever a time, like when it comes to authenticity, like living in your truth, which clearly you're doing, effortlessly, you're always living in that truth. Was there ever a time when you felt like you weren't? Like when you felt that you were, I guess someone would call inauthentic. Did you ever feel inauthentic?
Yes. Uh, like all 2023.
Really?
Um, yeah, because I was in a really bad relationship.
Mm,
Or yeah, it was bad. I can say it was bad. Um, because it was degrading to myself. And nothing is bad because you learn from it, but you can say something is bad if it's bad on a cellular level, and if somebody is deceitful, or not authentic because they're always lying,
mm,
that affects your mind, and then it affects the vibration on the cellular level. So yeah, I definitely wasn't being authentic, probably in survival mode, uh, more like just a little character running around.
wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Just it sounded like it just dawned on you, like when that question came around. Because when you say that it affected you at a cellular level, like how did it also affect you at a cellular level? Like really deep in your core to be in.
On a yeah, on a soul level, it was cool because um, you you don't you have to be shown, right, what you're accepting, to let it go. So on a soul level, I'm happy it all happened. Obviously happened for a reason. Because I I I guess you could say I got like my imagination back,
Mm,
being in the like darkness of this like relationship that I was in. I There was a point where something snapped in my mind, and all my imagination just came back to
like
me.
from child.
Yeah, like my childlike imagination, the really crazy, vivid stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what part of your imagination was like sparked or ignited, like rekindled, you know?
So I actually, I'm not going to get too specific because there was like some physical trauma
Okay.
involved. And so basically something happened one day and um, it was very, very traumatic for my mind
Mm.
to comprehend. And so, basically this physical trauma had happened, all at once, and uh, my, like a snap happened in my mind, and like it was like me and this character that I was playing were fighting for my body, really,
Whoa.
and it was pretty crazy. I had like it was crazy. I don't. I guess I'll be real with you guys. I definitely was like suicidal. Um, and it was a really weird type of suicidal though, because it had snapped into me really fast.
Mm-mm.
It was like, I was saying like, I don't want to be here,
Mm.
but I was also, every time I would say that, I was also saying I'm scared. So I was literally like, I don't want to be here. I'm scared. And I realized that the character was the one that was saying, I don't want to be here, but scared.
Mm.
And this is really, this was really traumatic. So it was like this physical trauma had happened to me in the split of a second. And my mind was triggered. And I'm not over exaggerating when I say for hours I was saying, I don't want to be here and I'm scared the whole night until the morning where I could go to the hospital or go to the doctor, I should say, um, um, to resolve what had happened. But in the midst of this like night that I was having, um, my imagination came back to me.
Mm.
Lots of vivid colors, and there was a being, probably myself in a sense, that was like made up of like, if you could imagine like a body made up of like bubbles,
Mm-hmm.
and the bubbles are like different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was it was beautiful, and that kind of was like the initiation of like my imagination coming back. And then also too, I drank my urine as soon as I could, in the middle of this episode, or manic, or not even it was quite sedated actually. It was quite monotone in talking, and because
Mm-hmm.
at first I was like manic, I was freaking out, and then it kind of got really like monotone and almost scarier, because like I was in this like place in myself. People describe this same thing on psychedelics, but I was like in this dark void, looking up through this hole that was the only light,
Mm.
and I was like basically listening to my mouth, which I'm assuming was the hole that I was looking out of. And
Mm.
um, I was watching basically my mouth saying like, I don't want to be here, I'm scared. And it was like, my body was saying I don't want to be here, but I was down there shouting, I'm scared.
Right.
So it was physical trauma, and especially when you don't do it to yourself, will trigger something.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Like just you brought me to that moment, because in that moment, what is it that you feel that you held on to? Like, what was there anything that you were able to hold on to in that moment to keep going, even though there was a repetition of saying, that phrase over and over again? What like kept you together?
questioning, questioning, questioning what was going on. I remember like just questioning, like, what is this? Like, not saying it out loud, but some little corner of my mind was still like, what am I saying? What is this separation or this combination, or I'm all these questions. What's happening in my mind? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? What is going on?
Questions, questions. So questions kept, and then you said that there was like a bubble being. There was a being with bubbles that came. How did they approach you? Like, where did they come from?
It was in the dark. It was in the void with me. It came, and it was just like I actually kind of drew it a little bit. Yeah, I actually kind of drew it. I would have to like go through all my drawings and find it right now, but it was just there. It wasn't necessarily moving. It was just there for us for a minute maybe, and it almost like it had big, like sad but happy eyes at the same time, like eyes like my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
like eyes that are like a child's eyes, like
Mm-hmm.
so curious looking up at you, but with like little tears in
Mm.
them.
So
Yeah.
it was sadness and happiness simultaneously.
Yeah. And it was like it was kind of like a stained glass figure, but instead of glass, it was water,
Okay.
if that makes sense. And another way to describe it, as instead of a bubble person. But yeah, both ways you could kind of describe it.
Wow. Because it's interesting, Tatiana, like when you describe, it's very vivid, it's very descriptive, and you have a way of illustrating with your words and just with your energy, like with the emotions that I can feel from you in the moment. Because I remember when you were talking about you and your mother, when she was asking you to look at a snake that was like under a bed or under a chair or something, and you saw the outline of something, you like squinted and you were trying to see it. And then when you both, you had a pet, there was a rabbit that started to go into a cube. It was like a slimy, greenish, brownish cube. The way you were describing these things, I was like, I can see it, you know? So, I mean, in that moment, with the bubble being, with the eyes that were, sad, but also happy, what did, what feeling did it give you to witness it in that moment?
That I'm doing something right, like I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, I'm okay. It's not my fault. I
Right.
didn't do this to myself.
So it was confirmation. It was like a reassurance. It's letting you know it's
Yeah.
okay. You're okay. It's okay. Like all is well. It's okay. Yeah. Wow. You know, like your vulnerability is so powerful, because I remember you told me that there's the light and the dark. Like there's the sun and the shadow. And you said that other people had labeled, like they were going through something, people that people had kind of cast out and maybe ostracized and maybe, you know, exiled from society, that those were the actual geniuses that helped raise you, you know,
Yeah.
that showed you that there were dimensions that we know nothing of, these dimensions, and you were asking the questions once again of, if people say that this is bad, then there has to be good, you know, there has to be something inside for that balance. So I mean, this feels like, wow, this is so real, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can only imagine, you know, and you're still here, you know what I mean, like you're still here. So I mean, to have just the fortitude to have whatever you were able to have in that moment that you held on to, I'm thankful, you know. Yeah, yeah. Perspective now to look and reflect and connect and say, I'm grateful. Even going through that and saying, wow, like it needed to happen. That's a perspective, you know.
Yeah. Uh, I think my ability to love after all of that
Mm,
um, reminds me in every moment that I'm infinite,
mm,
and remembering that I'm infinite helps me gamify this life because everything is numerical and everything is patterns, and it is super easy to read the the lows and highs and to work with it.
yeah. So gamifying the life, you know. I mean, this is our avatar. Like we customize, we create, we level up, we acquire, we, you know, we achieve, we learn, we grow. And you know, you said something on your page not too long ago about being yourself. It was a message about being yourself. And you always use these emojis like DNA, you know, these DNA strands, and how we are uniquely ourselves, you know, like we can't be cloned, we can't be copied, or even if we were, that that's still not you, you know, that you are always you. What inspired you to put out that message for other people to really feel that, you know?
It's so comforting uh, because everything you have to have balance in everything you think and do and consume.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that you are an infinite, you're everything. Everything you look at is also you. The other 50% or the other half of that um, is that you're only there will only ever be you in this time. There will not ever be another you that looks like this, talks like this with this tone, um, um, forms their sentences in the way that they do, moves their eyes up and around and about, gets the tattoos that you do, uses the same skincare routine, walks in the same softness, um, uses the same level of restraint, and you know everything, everything, everything.
Yeah.
How much cilantro you sprinkle on your salad? Nobody will ever do that like you. Like there, so it's that.
Yeah. And you know, in that uniqueness, you said it's comforting, you know? What do you feel like is most comforting or most, you know, reassuring about the structure of your DNA, the structure of you, who you are? Because when you're talking about, or when you're learning about things like chromosomes, you know, X and Y chromosomes, and you're learning about, you know, DNA, and you're learning about who we are deep, deep down on the inside. What fascinates you about learning about these things?
Who you are right now is a anchor point to knowing who you have always been, where you came from, and where you're going.
Mm.
Who you are, knowing who you are, and being authentic, and and like, for example, like you you see a piece of chocolate and you're like, I would enjoy to eat a piece of chocolate, and then you do it. Now, one or two things can happen. You either feel guilty, or you're like, I'm glad I decided to do that because I wanted to, and I did. And then I did it, and then I enjoyed it. And now I feel satisfied, and I had an experience, and now I can go and have another one if I feel like it. A different experience, or the same, or I have the choice, and it's that's what it is. So you see how, one was like I say one thing to myself and it stops and it's kind of over. And one thing, it's like the other end is infinity. So it's almost like it's the balance gives you like the freedom to move about authentically, like having the knowing of that you're infinity, but you're also yourself, helps you like literally walk lighter.
Mm. So it's almost like one is like a closed loop, or like a container or a box that we might put ourselves in unintentionally. And then another is like an open, vast ocean that we just kind of embrace infinity, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because when you said, like, you know, knowing who you are, knowing who you've been, knowing where you're going, when did you finally say for yourself, I know who I am? Like, when did that become, you know, steadfast for you?
When I realized I am infinity. So when you it just goes together. I, I can't, I don't know, maybe this happens for other people, or this is just a part of it at some point, but if you realize you're infinity but you don't realize you're unique, maybe that's where like arrogance can happen or something. You think that you're bigger than everything else, and you forget the part where, or no, honestly, actually it would be the other way around. If you're so into your uniqueness, I think that's where your arrogance would come in, and you forget that you're everything, and you don't see yourself in everyone and everything, and so you become arrogant. But I guess for the infinity one, maybe that's more of like I don't know, I can't imagine realizing I'm infinity and then any negative thoughts after that, really. Like, that's really the anchor, like knowing that you're infinity. That's an anchor to it all. Remembering that you're infinity, we should say.
Remembering that we're infinity. Okay. And that almost gives, almost like a little, like something we forgot. Kind of like how you said your imagination came back. Do these rememberings come back?
Yeah, I always say, I say this for two different reasons. There's no such thing as
Mm.
advice unless you're encouraging somebody to be authentic.
Mm.
And there's also no such thing as advice because you're just reminding somebody
Mm.
something. You're not teaching them anything, you're reminding them something they already know.
Okay. So when somebody has that feeling, like when you get this feeling that something clicks for you, or you have an epiphany or a sudden realization, it really was just information that you already knew, but they're just lighting that up within you. You know,
Mm.
it's like you're remembering something you know already. You know, you already know. Is that what that is?
Yeah, exactly. Like a click or a snap
Mm-hmm.
inside of you is it's the same thing as an epiphany. It's that's what it is.
Okay. Okay. I'd love to hear about, I see on your page in the bio, it just has one word in all caps, right? And it's a beautiful word, but I'd love to hear, what does it mean for you, metamorphosis?
If I'm infinity, I'm constantly like how they show those videos of fractals where it's like constant holographic just metamorphosis.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you remember that you're infinity and you start walking and living and speaking in it. That's like what you're doing all the time. You're like a toroidal field, just in and out and within and in and out and within and in and out and within. Everything you say, everything you feel, your heart, you can feel it. But it's just this, it's a loop of just constant metamorphosis. You can think of it as like a rainbow from, I don't know what color it starts at. I don't know, blue to red or whatever, just the changes and it's just the cycle and it goes over and but colors are infinite, so it's just yeah, constantly the upward spiral that is inevitable that they talk about in physics.
Yeah, I mean, we have metaphysical Ash down here. They say the continuation of harmonization in and with your environment. You resonate?
Exactly. She said the same thing I just said
Yeah,
in another beautiful
yeah,
way.
yeah. So even in like, like when you told me that story about the rabbit and how it changed on like it was on the balcony or something,
Hmm.
and it was for weeks it was just there, but you said it almost became like an alien. It was something totally new, totally different. And I've heard people talk about how, when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it's not like the caterpillar just sprouts wings and just
Hmm.
comes, it's like it liquefies, it completely dissolves, it changes, it becomes something completely different, you know?
On a cellular level. Liquefy, love that, yeah.
Yeah. So are we doing that as well?
Mm, yes, all the time. Yeah. It's you on your story you saw I was liking your stories. You said imagination is like more important than knowledge. 100%. All knowledge, I don't know, comes from the imagination. Like I close my eyes, I can see anything. I can see anything just as vividly as I can see it with my eyes open. And I can I can go really just wherever I want to go. And I can taste that place, I can feel that place, I can smell that place, and I can bring that place here. And yeah, it's the imagination is we should almost like create more words for imagination. Like let's I don't know, like twin world,
Mm.
twin world, we could call it. Like yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love.
It's a realm. It's a dimension that we're going into that is very
Yeah.
real. More real, right? Almost more real sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Lately, the books I've been reading, I read a lot of fiction. I read some nonfiction, but I do read a lot of fiction. And it just, it just continues to fuel my imagination, these places that people go to. And one of the books I recently read was called Shadow Speaker. And the main protagonist, they would go to the Shadowlands. That's what they called it, like the astral realm, the infinite realm, the imagination realm. They called it the Shadowlands, and they were like shadow walking through the Shadowlands. No, it was Master of Poisons. Yes, it was another book. I was reading two books. Yeah, but they were. It was like an imagined African folktale set in this, this era where so many things were happening, but there were storytellers that could visit and, go into this trans-dimensional realm at the blink of an eye. And then, their body would be there, but they were elsewhere, you know? And it's beautiful because when I was in middle school, I remember you're bringing back so many memories, Tatiana. I was riding the school bus and I would just be off in another world. I'd be having like so many things happening in my mind at the same time. And just like you said, you could be there, you could see there, you could taste, touch, all of your senses could be used in that element. But then, people would call people like me, like they would say, "Oh, he's a daydreamer. You're just daydreaming." And it was kind of like that was a put down. Like, why are you always daydreaming? You're just dreaming. But now when you talk about this, it sounds like such a superpower, you know? Yeah. Yeah. There it is, yeah, come on. Yeah. There. Oh, snap. Wow. Wow. There it is. you know there it is. So it must have impacted you so much that you etched it. Was that for you to have that reminder?
I got that tattoo at 18 years old, 10
Okay.
years ago now. And no, I just got it.
Yeah.
I just got it. I had no connection to the word necessarily.
Hmm.
I just got it.
Mm.
And now it means everything.
Wow. It means everything now.
Yep.
Because
I was just an 18-year-old that wanted to be tatted
mm,
up.
because you were telling me, I remember that middle school wasn't the best. It was definitely not the best time in your life. But were you daydreaming even then? Was daydreaming big for you? Like just your imagination, was it very vivid back then?
Yes. Um because of who my mom is, I've always been prone to having a vivid imagination. It was in my DNA, if you will.
Hmm.
And you know how people talk, we've heard recently maybe on social media about how some people, like if you tell them to think of an apple, they might not be able to visualize an apple. They may be only able to visualize the word apple. And I found this, for someone like me, I found this, I didn't even know. I did not know that people didn't have as vivid imaginations as I do.
Mm.
I didn't know that. And I I think that it's it could be a little bit sad, because I think it just shows people's level of programming that they've been
Mm.
programmed. Because I tell you, I've reflected on this for a while, like, and I thought like, oh, maybe that is just how some people are. Maybe they have some sort of other gift or something. Maybe they smell vividly. I don't know. Or maybe their skin can feel more, right? No, my conclusion is that directly, I this is just my theory, but that is a direct telling of how much you've been programmed, is how vivid your imagination is able to be. And which makes a lot of sense for the journey that I'm in too, because like I said, you know, my imagination didn't go away, but it certainly wasn't as vivid as it was during when I was younger. But then it came back through trauma, and so I would say probably sometime in late high school is maybe when it started to dull.
Okay.
Um,
Can you remember why that might have been?
I've tried. I've tried. I think it was a gradual thing because I've tried very hard to remember what dulled it, but I'm pretty sure I'm realizing that it was a gradual dulling, and that makes a lot of sense also too with this theory that I'm talking about, because programming, you know, it can get stronger over time. So
Okay. So it was almost like the pencil of perception was sharpened, but then there was a dulling over time.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Because, you know, when you talk about imagination in the way that it almost sounds like it's not something that we have learned, but it's something we have lost. It's like we've always,
exactly.
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
We even still have it, right? The person that is not able to imagine an apple, uh, they imagine just the word apple. That's
Hmm.
still, they still got a little something. They still got the word. They still have 5 letters they imagined. And then, you know, what color is that? Do they got a color on that word? I don't know. You know, there's so many there's infinite levels, right? So it's there, and it can be exercised
Hmm. Hmm.
and strengthened.
Right. Right. What would you call like lifting weights when it comes to your imagination? What would be the equivalent of being in the gym, you know, with those muscles?
Meditation. Meditation, definitely.
Mm.
Closing your eyes. Close your eyes. And that's it. And just close your eyes and turn as much noise and light off as you can
Hmm.
for as long as you can. And
Yeah.
that's definitely number one exercise that you would have to do to get your imagination back.
Strengthen it, you
Because
know, because you know.
it's
Mhm.
real quick,
Mhm.
it's the stimulation that takes away from the imagination, all the fluorescent lighting, all the cars and all the 5G and all the people that don't resonate with you that you're around, or any gossip you decide to engage in, all the social media you decide, the food, the clothes, all of that is what is pulling away from the imagination, because it's all so stimulating. What do I need an imagine? Here's all the stuff that I just listed. Here it is, right? What do I need
Mhm.
my imagination for? Look at all
Mm.
this.
Right.
So
Right.
remove it and close those eyes and watch and work that imagination muscle.
Yeah. 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 This is the message, you know, because you reminded me just now. There is a saying that like only when we close our eyes can we truly see.
Mm,
And I read a biography of Helen Keller. You know, it's a book, Helen Keller, The Story of My Life. And she talks,
mm,
you know, she talks about like, I mean, being, you know, having no sight and no hearing, feeling, like feeling, she was feeling everything. And so even like feeling, you know, the pages of a book, like her fingers were hungry, you know, and it was feeding her imagination. And so it was like very tactile for her. It could, you know, just touching people's faces while they were talking. She had to learn how to speak, or you know, how to hear somebody without her ears, you know. So she was like feeling them, and everything was feeling, and there was no light, there was no sight, but that imagination muscle was strong, you know, strong.
Man, what that makes me think is like, wow, imagine if Helen Keller got her sight back.
Wow.
Like what if she, what if she, started watching Dr. Sebi videos? What if she started watching Ellie Tom? So, well, imagine if she got her sight back, what kind of power would that turn into? What level of power would that turn into
Mm.
if she had detoxed? Like, wow.
I'm gonna send you a video after this, Tatiana, because oh man, if you haven't seen this, you got to see this. It's children that are seeing without eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a school. There's a lady, Nicola Farmer, in London. I'm sure they have a whole bunch of different ones around the world, but this specific one, they were just they were teaching the children like how to see without eyes. They would have this mindfold that's like this padded black, you know, like a face mask that somebody would wear at night, but it's like completely dark, pitch black. And the children they're reading without eyes, they're writing without eyes, they're playing ball with each other without eyes, they're like doing everything that you would normally do without the use of their sight. But it's like they've activated a whole nother sight, you know. And it's amazing because, you know, the theory was that it could only be activated between the ages of 6 and 12, because like you said, there were no distractions. They weren't people telling you, no, you can't do this, no, this is not possible, no, that's not for you, no, you know, wishful thinking, stop dreaming. But since they hadn't had all that programming, they were easy to train, or easy to, you know, awaken this. But now there's people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond that it takes them just a little bit longer because they have a lot to chop through, but they're activating this ability. And it felt, for them, it felt like learning how to walk all over again, because it was like they were awakening dormant brain cells, like regions of the brain that weren't lit up for years. They were waking them up just to see without eyes. It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
I love that. Literally. Wow, yeah, like just wait, everybody. Just wait. Me too. I'm talking to myself. Like, just wait, you guys. What this world's gonna, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited. I feel it. I see it every day. I hear it from you guys, from me, from everybody. It's the world is gonna be awesome, you guys. It's gonna be like the
So
movies in a good way.
so what can you see before we go? Just tell us, like, what do you see in your mind's eye when you say just wait, just wait? Like, I feel your energy. Just wait. What can you see? You know?
Okay, well, with all of this digital technology and everything that is advancing, um, oh gosh, there's just so much to say about this. You know, because I get really into the economy, honestly. I like studying the economy, and I like knowing about the BRICS nations and what if anybody knows about BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are in alliance. They're trying to collapse the US dollar. It can seem really scary, but these people really deserve to have their own resources from their own land, and they're starting to put their foot down, and they're creating, people are creating tokens and becoming their own banks and becoming sovereign, And this is all going to look like when we watch movies, like if anyone has seen, I'm going to try to give a few examples, like Men in Black, Valerian, I'm not sure if Avatar, I don't think Avatar has like a scene like this, but these scenes in these movies where they're always alien movies, where you're going to see a bunch of different alien creatures, different concepts of different creatures, cyborgs, all types of stuff. And this is a seed planet, they call it the seed planet, where all different beings come from all different places in the universe, and they come, and it's like basically the Silk Road. We come and we trade goods, oil, herbs, tinctures, jewelry, fine metals, fine rubies, all these things, right? And this is life. This is life. This is what life is. That's what it is. This is, and it's on, and every dimension there's like a Silk Road where things are traded, bartered, all these things. And the world is going to be like this beautiful Silk Road of people just exchanging just like rapidly beautiful information, and we're going to see like at least pockets in the world, in the physical world, of utopias, where just it's gonna look like harmony, and we're gonna be what we would have been calling for the last couple of decades an advanced species, finally, or whatever. So it's coming.
Will you be moving there from Milwaukee? Will you be moving?
Hey, maybe there'll be one here. Maybe there'll be one everywhere. I can't say exactly how many of these will be or how big they'll be. Maybe a whole country will be a utopia. Maybe a whole country will collectively decide to be what I'm talking about. Maybe there will be a country that is really far from that, so they only have really tiny little pockets, and who knows, who's gonna do it, what's gonna do it. Maybe, who knows, who knows, maybe, who knows, the infinity is possible. So what I do know is that I know who I am, and I'm not really worried about planning anything, because I move authentically, and I move more spontaneously now because I'm authentic, and because I'm allowed to be spontaneous because I'm authentic. Because I know that if I just do something, if I'm being authentic, it'll work out.
Right. That confidence, that conviction, Yes, we're here for it. And just like you showed us, that wonder, like what you kept saying, Tatiana, like maybe, who knows, maybe, like just that childlike wonder is what we need. We need more people say maybe, what if, imagine,
And
Thank you.
I'm even gonna go further and say this is what's coming. I'm not saying maybe this is what's happening. I'm saying all the little details are maybes. The details are fun. We can create these details. They don't have to be maybes either. They don't have to be maybes. What's up?
There you go. Hey! You like, let's get it. It's already here. It's already done. Because if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, There it is. There it is. So thank you so much. You are a world changer. We build it. I love this. And just, just thank you. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Blessings. Let's do this again,
Yes, anytime. Anybody who wants to hop on live with me or talk to me, DM me. Anything. You hear how I speak, how I am, how open I am. I'm open for it. So
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Tati. Take care.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Love, much
Love.
love.
Much love.
To infinity, you guys, and beyond.
Yes.